Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the MG ZS EV which is available in two variants. This one is priced at rupees 25 lakhs. So if you're looking at buying such a car, investment is one of the ways to save money. So let me tell you about an amazing trading app named Upstocks. Upstocks is one of the fastest growing brokers in India with 1 million plus downloads on the Play Store and 9 lakh plus customers. This mind-blowing app offers charting tools with above 100 plus indicators, lifetime free delivery trades, rupees 20 per order intraday, FNO, currencies and commodities. You can open your trading and demat account and all you need is your PAN card, bank details and some basic documents. So what are you waiting for? Go download it. The link is in my description. Straight away, let's open the engine bay of this vehicle. Now, it's not an engine bay. The electric motor is actually placed here. This is where the electric motor of this vehicle is. Now, you might see that the engine bay has a lot of space. You know why? Because this car is also sold with an ICE engine. There's insulation right there. You don't need that insulation any which ways. So, the front, the design looks kind of MG, not in line with the Hector as such. But of course, the grille will remind you of other MG cars. Car looks more crossover than SUV. Coming to the headlights, MG says that it has been inspired by the London Eye. However, you get a projector setup, but it's not an all LED unit, which would have been a better thing to conserve even more power. LED DRL, of course, there is no fog lamp on offer, and this grille might remind you of the Mercedes A-Class with that diamond studded thingy going on, but this has, a different type of appeal, but kind of looks similar. Of course, you get the massive MG logo and you press this and it reveals the charging port of the car. Now, obviously this feels a bit too flimsy. However, this is where the charging port is. Now, the one on the top is for AC charging. The one at the bottom is for DC charging. So let's just close this right away. And there we go. Push this down and this is shut as well. You get the chrome surrounding the grille, that is, and black treatment on the front bumper. I think that is done just to reduce the overall visual bulk of the car, but it doesn't feel bulky at all because it's not really a SUV in that sense. It's more crossover as such. Now, the tires actually fill the wheel arches quite nicely. You know why? Because it runs on 17 inches. Even the Hector runs on 17 inches, but this is obviously lower profile. 215/50 17s. These happen to be Michelin rubber, and I love the treatment on the alloy wheels as well. Obviously, you get disc brakes both at the front as well as the rear. It says electric there. It kind of looks tacky. Could have been a little bit more subtle rather than being in your face. And the same thing is the issue with the internet inside at the rear too. Anyways, you see this molding is running across the car. That kind of looks a little bit SUV-ish. And there's this chrome line which runs all the way below the window area, blackened B-pillar. And the roof rails also get this silver finish. Shark fin antenna gets that gloss black finish. So a lot of attention to detail in that sense, like the door handles get the chrome finish, and there's a request sensor here. There's a request sensor on the other side as well, which is not the case with Hyundai cars. Yeah, Maruti gives you a request sensor on both the sides. MG is doing the same as well. Coming to the rear, as you can see, that internet inside badging kind of feels out of place, especially when there's poor network. And again, black colored bumper to reduce the visual bulk. Meanwhile, you also get a fake skid plate, if I may. And there's the reverse parking camera, reverse parking sensors, rear fog lamps have been turned on right now. ZS EV is finished with that blue tinge just for that environment friendliness, and the lights also look pretty nice on this vehicle. So this is the wiper, rear spoilers sort of integrated. There's a high mounted stop lamp as well, and from the other side, well, the car looks similar, but the request sensor is there, which is actually a very nice thing indeed. Let's quickly open the boot of the vehicle. Now the boot is big enough. It's claimed to be around 470 liters, and check this out. That is so VW, and you'll see a lot of VW in this car, which we will talk about once we get into the driver's seat. Boot area is big enough. There's a car cover, which I think is optional. That is a warning triangle. There's a light placement there, and obviously there's a proper place to keep your chargers. So I've already kept it open just that I can show you right away what is there inside. So this is the charger, and like I told you, this is the AC charger, so it fits in directly. And of course, it shows you how much power, charge and fault is there on that system too. Meanwhile, the spare wheel isn't an alloy. In fact, it's a space saver, and it happens to be a 125/90/16, which is kind of small. You can split forward the seat 60/40 format in order to improve the boot carrying capacity of this electric vehicle. So let's get to the rear. Let me tell you that the build quality feels more Hyundai than VW, which is actually good because it's better than average. Doors don't have that solid feel, but they don't feel weak either. And you have this quarter glass at the rear too. It says SAIC motor, SAIC motor. and the door pockets at the rear are big enough. The treatment, the addition of leather here is really very nice and premium, feels really good as well, and the window area is also large enough. As you can see, the rear seat offers quite a lot of space. You know what? The wheelbase of this car is actually lesser than the Kona, yet it has more space on offer, which is splendid. As you can see, the floor is almost flat, but the problem here happens to be the fact that there is no center headrest, there is no center armrest. Why is there a middle seat for whom? Neither can you put your hand properly, neither can you put your head. Anyways, you pull this string and there you can recline the seat. That is the 60-40 split format, and access the boot or increase the boot carrying capacity. Just be mindful of the seat belt so that it doesn't get slotted inside. There it is. You get isofix child seat mounts as well. Now once I sit inside, I realize that seat is comfortable, but under thigh support is on the poor side, and seat back is scooped out. There's a magazine holder here as well. There's actually storage space and a USB charging socket too. So they've given a USB at the rear, which is a nice touch. Now there is no light placement at the rear. There is of course a handle on both the sides, but there is no light placement. Headroom is fine. I mean, headroom is okay for me. You can see my head is not touching in spite of the massive spike which has come thanks to saloons being open for like a long time right now. Anyways, overall comfort is good, but like I told you, under thigh support is not that great. Leather seats, of course, so seats are comfortable, and headrest also can be adjusted as per your convenience. This quarter glass, I don't know why there is one quarter glass, probably it doesn't need one. Look at the dashboard of the car. Doesn't it look quite nice? Yeah, it looks premium for sure. But let's quickly jump in ahead. Before I do that, let me tell you that the seat belt doesn't get height adjust. Car obviously gets 6 airbags. Car is filled with a ton of safety features. And when I talk about safety features, it's got ABS, it's got EBD, it's got brake assist, it's got electronic stability control. So in terms of features, yes, there are plenty of them, yet some of them are absent as well. Now of course, these are the controls for the power windows. Now there are two good things about it. Firstly, these switches are illuminated. All the 4 switches, including the one for the child lock for the power window, is illuminated at night, unlike the case with the Hyundai Creta, the new Creta, whose only I think driver's side is illuminated. Same is the case with the Kia Seltos. So they've not cut corners here. And you know what? It's a one touch up down for all the windows. Sorry, only one touch down, not one touch up. So here the driver obviously goes one touch down and also goes up one touch, but the other windows are one touch only for going down, not for coming up. Now what do we have here? We've got a proper dead pedal right there. This is to open the hood of the vehicle, and this is for adjusting the outside rear view mirror. This is for the headlight leveler. Now this might remind you of some other car for sure, and this will also remind you of some other car for sure, and this actually will remind you, this will remind you of the Audi A3. This is from the Audi A3, looks very premium. This is how you can turn on and off the AC vent. Piano black finish around, which also looks very premium. There's some Superbike going which is making a lot of noise. So front seats are extremely comfortable, as you can see, and this is a 6-way power adjustable driver seat, but there is no adjustment for the lumbar support, which is a bit disappointing. Any which ways, the switch gear actually comes from VW cars. So you might have seen the switch gear in VW cars. So they've been lifted from there. Any which ways, this is so much like the new Honda Civic. Out of sight and really an afterthought. They designed the car and then they realized, you know what, we haven't put USB charging sockets. That's the reason why the positioning is so awkward. You don't realize unless and until you search for it. So you've got 2 USB ports, and there is a 12-volt charging socket as well, and the storage space here as well. But this is not convenient at all in any which way, because you just have to reach down for it. Anyways, let's get inside. So door pockets are big enough at the front as well, and the doors shut with a nice thud at the front. The glove box is actually small. It's not that big. Meanwhile, let's turn off the lights. So once we turn off the lights, everything starts glowing, right? The good thing about this car is that it's got automatic headlights, it's got automatic wipers as well, and let me turn on the vehicle. So this is the engine start button, and there the engine is started. So this is obviously for the wipers. It's positioned the ulta. This should have been for the indicators and the lights, but this is for the wipers. It takes some time to get used to, and there you see good amount of spray on offer. The wipers work brilliantly well in this vehicle. Now there are 2 switches here, rather 2 stalks. One is obviously for the headlights, and this is for the cruise control system of this car. Cost cutting, well, there's cost cutting done here as well, because the steering wheel is only adjustable. Where is it? Steering wheel is only adjustable for height, not for reach. So cost cutting has been done there. The Seltos gets it both ways. Meanwhile, the Creta gets it similar to this car. As you can see, the dashboard looks pretty good, and overall quality is also very nice. They have this soft touch leather which has been placed around everywhere in the cabin. In fact, even the steering wheel happens to get a leather wrap, which is pretty premium indeed. However, there are a lot of hard plastics lower down, and they're kind of scratchy hard plastics which can get into your eye a bit. But for the most part, I would say the cabin is well put together, but there are certain features which are missing, like there's no wireless charging, and that's not all. It also misses out on an automatic climate control system. So this is not an automatic climate control system. These are regular air conditioning controls. So this is obviously for the temperature, and this is for the fan speed, and again various modes of the air conditioning. This is for the audio system. Now this is an 8-inch touchscreen audio system, which is very slick and very nice indeed. Let's play an audio right away.
Of the human spirit.
उम्र 67 साल हो
Audio quality is really very nice, but I noticed one small issue. If your volume is on, I mean if you're listening to audio system and you get into reverse and you try to control the audio system, it does not work. So you can't lower the volume when you're in reverse, which reminds me, let's get into reverse. Right now we are in reverse. It gets adaptive guidelines, nice reverse camera, and of course shows the car there as well. So it just makes it easier to park the vehicle. Now there are a lot of buttons here. This is obviously the gear selector, which has this beautiful knurled finishing. Meanwhile, we've got multiple buttons here. Now this is for the drive mode, this is for the curse mode, and this is for the battery. What is this exactly? You press this button and immediately it shows you what is the range of the vehicle. So how much more kilometers is going to go. I don't understand why they have a dedicated switch for this, because when I see this, I'm like, it must be some crazy button which would lift the car into orbit. Okay, there's storage space right here. A lot of piano black finishing in the center. The cabin is all kind of black with these silver highlights in multiple places, which also looks very nice. There's no auto dimming inside rear view mirror in this car, which is a grave omission. You would expect these lights to be LEDs. They are not LED lights. Okay, and when you're talking about VW parts bin, this seems to have come from the Skoda Superb. So you turn it around to open the roof of the car. This is actually from the Skoda Superb. I remember this being in Neha's car. Anyways, there is no light here. So there is a mirror, there is no light. So certain aspects could have been better for sure. Again, you get a mirror, but you don't get a light. There's no handle on this side, but there is definitely a handle on that side. Seats are pretty comfortable and nice, and the leather has been done pretty well. Under-thigh support could have been slightly better at the front too. Meanwhile, there's twin cup holders at the front, and you know what? This is so premium. It might remind you of Jaguar Land Rover cars. Front armrest actually opens, and there's storage space below that as well, because there's no dedicated sunglass holder or mask holder. I've kept them here at the moment. Okay, let's shut this. Massive center console, you can see that. Meanwhile, you can see this system is actually very fluid and nice to use, and because obviously it's got connected car tech, you can make voice commands to do a lot of things, specifically the sunroof. So hello MG.
Yes.
Open sunroof. And there it goes, opening the sunroof. It gets a massive panoramic roof. I mean, the roof is absolutely crazy, which is a nice thing because it brings in so much light inside the cabin. Yeah, that's a big sunroof, and you can use voice commands for all this and more. Obviously, it gets Apple CarPlay, it gets Android Auto connectivity, and it also gets the Gaana app, and you can listen to music using the Gaana app, which is again a very cool feature. In fact, if you want to go back, you press this button. So there's physical control for certain things, for volume, as well as changing the mode of what you're listening from, radio to Bluetooth, blah blah blah, by pressing this button. Backtrack, forward track, and mute. So I love the fact that they've given physical control, because that is a smart thing to do. Now this system, this connected car tech, is known as the iSmart, and it lets you geofence the car, which means that if it exits a certain area or kilometer, then it gives you a warning on your phone. That's not all. You can also get a warning if someone exceeds a particular speed on the vehicle. And I mean, the whole car tech, the connected car tech, is very cool. It's not there on the Kona. Kona does not get connected car tech, which is surprising considering Hyundai is offering it in the Hyundai Venue as well. So almost everything I have shown you, but we were talking about the iSmart app. All right, there is this button. Okay, if I press this button right now, an MG representative from the call center will call me. So this button is here as well, and that person will call me and be like, okay, you need any help? What particular help? Well, to search a charging station. Now obviously it's got navigation, so this navigation is from TomTom, and I can actually search for a charging station here directly. In fact, even I can ask the car, can it help search a charging station, and it will locate a charging station for me and navigate me there, which is again a cool thing. In fact, the charging bit is so important that they have put that in the main system as well. So anytime you just, okay, this is the iCall which I was talking about. Let's get into vehicle settings. I was saying anytime you get into the navigation, it already suggests you want to search charging because that's a default thing. That's something which is important. Now you can decide when you want the doors to lock or unlock, and it also has got follow me home headlamps, which you can program for I think 30, 60 and 90 seconds. So here we get into follow me home, 30, 60, 90 seconds. What it does is basically once you park the car and lock it, the lights can be kept on for this duration so that you can easily walk through your dim garage. Tire pressure monitoring system is there as well. Meanwhile, this is something known as driving assistant. Now, obviously, it's got hill descent control and hill ascent control and all that stuff. But what's really cool is this pedestrian alert. Now, what is this pedestrian alert? It's basically making fake sounds on the outside so the pedestrians can understand that there's a car coming, because electric cars are silent, you can't hear it, right? That's why they have this pedestrian alert system, which is again important nonetheless. Now, all this, okay, I'm not talking to you, lady. It has this, it's telling you the percentage. It's not the percentage of my phone. My phone is not connected. That percentage is for the car's overall battery. And this is the instrument cluster of the vehicle. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn that off and we're going to turn it on. And every time you turn it on now, it swipes up. It swipes up a little small and then it, says MG right there. Does a scan of the vehicle to the right. Is not a tachometer, it's more of a power meter, rather how much efficiency is happening and what is the charge levels when you actually apply brakes or boost as well. So that's why it's marked here. So if below 0 it's charging, this is the efficiency range, and this is for the boost, for the power. This is a multi-information display which is quite cool. It's got seatbelt warnings both for the front as well as rear passengers, which is again something unique. And you know what? Right now it's telling me what seatbelt is there or not. It's telling me to shut off the battery and not suck the energy out of it, and I can just browse through it. So that's telling me what mode I am in, and this is actually the control for the multi-information display. This is for the iCall and this is for the voice command system. So here, current speed, energy flow, tire pressure, electric information, and overall trip settings as well, current journey to and distance to empty, which I think is the most important thing in this car. Meanwhile, these are actually the controls for the audio system. This is for volume and this is for picking up a phone call, and this is again for browsing through the various modes of listening to audio on this vehicle. So as you can see, things are very simple and nice, although I honestly expected MG to have loaded this car with a lot more features considering the price of this vehicle. The MG ZS EV also has got a PM 2.5 air filter just to keep the interiors of the vehicle a little bit more cleaner, and it's got heated outside rear view mirrors as well, which I don't think is of much use in hot climate of India, but definitely in the north it will be of much use for sure. Okay, I think now it's ready. And overall, let me close this. So this is the electric parking brake. This is for the auto hold function, and there seems to be 2 dummy buttons. One doesn't have any button, one has a button. This doesn't get pressed. Fit finish of the car is quite nice indeed. However, is it as good to drive as the features suggest? Well, let's get going right away. Alright, we're all set to go, which means first and foremost, let's get into sport mode right away. We are in sport mode, air conditioning is off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, it doesn't rev, and off we go. Oh my goodness, there's a continuous surge of power, and first let's change the curves mode because it's going to start decelerating very fast. So this is the MG ZS EV, and trust me, the performance is absolutely mind-boggling. Without going into any technical aspects, let me tell you straight away, it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 8.5 seconds. The top speed is average 150 kilometers per hour. I got, I just lost my mind when I said 8.5 seconds for 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, and then I was wondering, why am I saying the top speed is 150 kilometers per hour? Isn't the top speed for a car which goes so fast should be around 200 kilometers per hour? But this is an electric car. It's a full electric car, and performance is so good. My god, it absolutely pulls with so much thrust at every given moment thanks to the electric motor. Now it uses a 44.5 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's a lithium ion unit, and of course the motor itself produces 143 horsepower. But more important than 143 horsepower is the fact that it produces a massive 353 Newton meters of torque, and that torque comes in right from 0 RPM. The result is, of course, that the acceleration is super brisk. Any given moment, get on the gas and it immediately surges ahead, and the surge is so fab, it's so strong that it leaves you spellbound too. Well, just to put it into perspective, the Hyundai Creta's 1.4 liter turbo petrol engine also produces around 140 horsepower, but a torque output of around 250 Newton meters. This one's torque output is 100 Newton meters more, and the result you can see for yourself. You want to make a quick overtake, there is no resistance, there's just immediate thrust, immediate go, thanks to the electric motor, which has so much oomph on offer. But the next question obviously is the range. What is the range of the car? The claimed range is 340 kilometers, but in the real world you should expect somewhere between 260 to 280 kilometers, which actually makes it better than the Hyundai Kona, because Hyundai actually claims around 420 kilometers, but it delivers lesser than the MG ZS. So I think MG's claim is a little bit more realistic than Hyundai in that sense. Performance will never disappoint you. There is just so much thrust and go on offer, and that's not a tachometer, that's actually the efficiency meter. So every time you get onto the gas, it dances. It's kind of like how in Rolls-Royce there's a power reserve meter, right? This is super cool, but every given moment the acceleration is so brisk. There is so much acceleration and thrust on offer. This car puts a massive smile on your face. This is an electric car. Electric is the future, and the future is not slow by any means of imagination. Even the brakes is super awesome. You know why? All-wheel discs. Now the only thing is that if you get on the accelerator with a little bit of optimism, the car will surge ahead, like really surge ahead. And that's why we've got 3 drive modes. Those 3 drive modes are nothing to do with the acceleration as such. I mean, not to contain your excitement, it is to contain the battery, okay, so that it doesn't exhaust the battery fast. So there's an eco mode where obviously the performance dulls and you get the best efficiency out of your battery for a larger range. So if you drive it very cautiously, then you get 280 kilometers range per tank. If you drive it like me, probably you will get somewhere around 200 to 220, because I just want to get onto the gas all the given moment, and it rewards you with so much thrust and so much get go all the given moment. Meanwhile, there is another mode which is a normal mode, which is a good blend of sport and eco, wherein I think the performance won't dull so much, and neither will the efficiency soar so much. So you'll get the best of both worlds. And then the mode which I'm driving right now is the sport mode, which obviously gives you all the thrust on offer and puts a massive smile on your face, but also depletes the battery way faster than you would expect. Now let's take a U-turn, and when we take a U-turn, you realize that the car is very easy to drive. The steering is definitely light. It doesn't offer much feel or feedback as such, yeah, but it's not as lifeless as what we have seen in certain cars which have just too light a steering wheel. You get onto the gas, the thrust is so much, it actually torque steers as well, so you have to keep a firm hand on the steering wheel, more so at high speeds, because it doesn't really inspire that confidence, because the steering doesn't offer much feel and feedback. That said, it does remain stable at higher speeds, and the best thing about this car is the fact that it's just so silent, it's just so refined. Okay, obviously there is no exhaust note to talk about, but it is absolutely smooth all given moment. There's just this whine which comes in when you accelerate hard. Otherwise you can barely hear anything at all. And the good thing is even tire noise is well contained, so overall insulation is good, so you don't hear much of what's outside. You can actually have a meeting inside the MG ZS EV. It is that silent, it's that smooth, it's that refined, and obviously being an electric, it has no gearbox. There's just one gear, so it doesn't waste time in shifting gears either. You want acceleration, there's just this continuous surge. It keeps going on and on and on and on, and this whole thing is so non-stop now that you have to look into this and be like, acha, now I need to back up from the throttle. Now I explained about the 3 drive modes on offer. Obviously they alter the performance and the economy accordingly, which is something which is seen on all cars. But this is KERS button. What does KERS actually mean? KERS means kinetic energy recovery system. What it does is, when you decelerate, okay, it alters the deceleration in order to charge the battery pack. That's genius, right? Which means that every time you're applying the brakes, you're being rewarded. In fact, every time you're lifting off the throttle, you're being rewarded still. That's like a win-win situation, right? But it comes with its catch, which we'll talk once we get going from this signal, of course. And off we go. Wheel spin, no problemo. Okay, it has got electronic stability control, it's got hill descent control, it's got hill climb assist, it's got all of that and more. In fact, this car is an Euro NCAP 5-star rated car. Yeah, that's unbelievable. It's got 6 airbags, so in terms of safety there's no issue at all. But like I was telling you, throttle it and it just accelerates with so much enthusiasm. Now we're talking about KERS. What it does is basically there are 3 steps for the KERS system, 1, 2, 3, and in 1 it's the least intrusive. So when you lift off now, the amount of deceleration won't be that much, but in 3 the deceleration is a lot. In fact, the deceleration in 3 is so much that I've turned it off right now because I know it's going to decelerate so fast. Meanwhile in the Kona it decelerates even faster, resulting in more charging of the battery. This one slightly lesser charging of the battery, but this one is more linear and more livable. But if you're not used to an electric car, okay, here we are. I'm going to shift the KERS here, 3. Now I'm not even getting onto the brakes. You see, the deceleration is so fast. Now I'm on the brakes. Of course, braking performance is very strong, and it actually stops better than the Hyundai Kona. You know what? I can hear that motorcycle. I can hear every inch of vibration coming out from that Bajaj Avenger because this cabin has no noise at all. So of course, if someone is making a loud noise around you, you're going to hear it, and off we go. Wheel spin randomly, and there, 8.5 seconds, and we have reached 100 kilometers per hour. That is the level of acceleration offer. I have to shift the curves mode now. Okay, I'll just show you. We are in third, heavy. Okay, regeneration level heavy, moderate, or light. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lift off, and look, I've lifted off. See the deceleration? It is so sharp that it's pulling back the speed, and I can feel as if I'm applying brakes. It can actually stop. Given a longer road, the car will actually stop. That's the level of deceleration on offer thanks to KERS, which is something which we first saw in Formula 1, the KERS technology. Well, that's absolutely insane and fun too, because usually when you drive an ICE car, your aim and agenda is always like, okay, can I extract more power? Can I hit a higher top speed? Here there's a different level of thought only. When you drive an electric car, can I squeeze that 1 kilometer more from the battery pack? How far can I go? Can I get a better eco score? This is what really pleases you then. And that's something which I think is the future now, because that's the way the automobile industry is going towards electric. And as an electric car, this MG ZS puts a big smile on your face, because it doesn't feel in any way a compromise other than the fact that you can't hear anything. So that sound bit is a bit of a compromise for those who love sound, but for the mass market who take the exhaust note to be a noise, they're just going to love this. This is like, what is this whole fuss about? First and foremost, let's talk about the charging time of the battery. Okay, when you buy this MG ZS EV, MG will come to your house and install a 7.4 kilowatt AC fast charger, which takes it from 0 to 100 in between 6 to 8 hours. Okay, which is very good, right? But if you don't have that, and if you go to a place where you need to charge, you can use your wall socket also, which is basically a regular wall socket with the 3-point plug. That is going to take it around 18 to 20 hours to charge the battery from 0 to 100%. That's a lot of time, right? Yeah, that is a lot of time, but that's only in terms of emergency, because you need a fast charger, like at least that AC fast charger. Otherwise, if you have a DC fast charger, which obviously you cannot install in your house because it's going to cost 18-20 lakhs, you can go to an MG showroom. Many of them are equipped with this feature, and there it goes from 0 to 80% charge in just 50 minutes. Yeah, that's right. Cornering, yeah, always you have this wheel spin coming across. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. It doesn't rev, it doesn't need to, and off we go. Keep up with that, ICE cars, not in a million years. So you can see the performance is great. Now I was telling you about the charging options. So you can do the regular charging as well at home with the 15 ampere wall socket. That's going to take a lot of time, 18 to 20 hours. But if you get hold of a MG dealership or other fast charging, DC fast charging, 50 kilowatt DC fast charging options, then you can get the car up to 80% in just 50 minutes, which is very fast and very convenient as well. And what if you run out of juice while driving? Well, first and foremost, don't be so careless, and in case that happens, MG has mobile charging vans which will come and juice you up so you can get on your way. Well, that's also a convenient feature as such. Now around the corners, you would expect there to be a lot of roll, but there isn't. This weighs a lot more. It weighs 1500 kgs. 1500 kgs is a lot for a car of this size, but that's because the weight of the battery is what adds to it. However, because the battery is placed between the wheelbase, okay, it's in the center. The center of gravity is very well managed, and thus it doesn't feel hairy. Body roll is well contained. The steering could have offered more feel for sure, but the suspension has been set up beautifully on this car. It absorbs almost everything in its stride. It's only the big, fat, uneven and unexpected bumps which shake the car. Otherwise, for the most part, the ride is brilliant on this car. It rides better than the Kona. The Kona feels a little bit more sporty. This one definitely feels more comfortable, and the ride is better. And the Kona actually gets this buttons for KERS over here. This one gets it down. But honestly, you just set it at 1 for the moment and then drive it flat out, and off we go. So why this whole fuss of driving an electric car? Yes, acceleration is super brisk and you have to hold on to the steering with all your might, otherwise the car will just go right, left and center, because the amount of torque which comes from 0 RPM directly pushing the car forward with a lot of guts. So, but honestly, what is the point of buying an electric car? Why would you buy an electric car? Charging so much, spending so much time on charging, why would you want to do that? Well, for one major reason is, firstly, not one, there are multiple advantages of an electric car. Firstly, it's very silent, it's very refined. Secondly, you're trying to save the environment, of course, no emissions as well, eco-friendly. But what you really care about is the running cost, and the cost of running an MG ZS EV is so low, it's absolutely baffling. Like, you will be a convert once I tell you the cost of running. This particular electric vehicle. So depending on what's the cost of electricity around your area, for 1 kilometer it's going to cost you between 90 paisa to 1 rupee 15 paisa, somewhere around that. Let's take an average of rupees 1 per kilometer. In comparison to petrol or diesel, this is like 5, 6, 7, 8 times cheaper. Yes, that's right. It is so much cheaper to run an MG ZS EV. It's absolutely baffling. I mean, if you're going to pile on a lot more kilometers, you're going to, the cost of the car will actually be earned back by you. And MG is offering 3-5 years. 3-5 years, what does that mean? Okay, basically it's got 5 years unlimited kilometers warranty. It's got 5 years no labor charge. It's got 5 years roadside assistance as well, which actually makes you put a lot more faith in this vehicle. I mean, if MG is going flat out by giving you this much warranty, it just is a testimony to the fact how good a product this is. And in spite of me also having a lot of reservations about the MG ZS EV, once you drive it, you realize it's a great car. It's very well engineered and it has the performance. There's no drawback of an electric car. Usually when you drive an electric car, you expect there to be a drawback in terms of efficiency, in terms of performance, but there's none of that in this car. Yes, the drawbacks are there, which I mentioned earlier on in the video, in terms of some equipment missing in this vehicle, which I would have definitely liked should be there for a car of this price. But put that aside, in terms of overall performance, in terms of comfort, it absolutely excels. It's not a driver's car, but on the straight, it absolutely pulls hard and fast and puts a massive smile on your face, because you can feel the G-forces. That's the reason when you turn on the car, it says, "May the force be with you." Well, there is a lot of force here for sure.
May the force be with you.
Someone is banged an Audi Q5 here. Immediate, absolutely immediate, the pull from the motor. Anyways, I was telling you about the Hyundai Kona. So the Kona actually has a smaller battery pack, and although globally there's another option of a bigger battery pack which actually matches the ZS EV, in terms of performance alone, of course, this car is faster. So the Kona handles better, this rides better. The Kona has lesser power and lesser range than the MG ZS EV, but it has more torque. That's kind of weird. I don't know how that works. But that's it. Around the corners, obviously, the Kona being more sporty offers better handling, better feel and all that. And I didn't know that day would come and I would say that a Hyundai car upscored someone else in terms of handling particularly, but you get the gist of things. So, you win some, you lose some, but as an electric car, the MG ZS EV just comes across as a better overall package because it's more spacious and it definitely has a better electric motor because outright acceleration is better. The Kona has a higher top speed, okay, and the battery range, the efficiency is also higher in the MG ZS. We've got two variants on offer. One is the Excite and the other is the Exclusive. This is the top of the line Exclusive, which is priced at rupees 25 lakhs. The lower variant, which misses out, I think, on connected car feature as well as this massive panoramic roof, is priced at rupees 22 lakhs. Again, all the prices are on road Mumbai. Now, the ground clearance of this car might not be that much or as much as you would expect. Obviously, it looks and feels more crossover than SUV. But remember one thing, the battery is IP67 compliant, which means it's water resistant, it's dust resistant, and you have absolutely no issue even if you drive it in water. And because the battery pack is obviously very well sealed out, and I experienced that myself when I went to drive this car. I think late last year in China, when they actually took the car in water and it had no issue at all. So obviously electric technology has improved so much. Now I'm in this dilemma that should I press the horn, because obviously it's going to deplete the battery, but we still will try it. Yeah, the horn is okay, it could have been better. The Fortuner has no effect on any horn, so anyways, that was futile, but I just wanted you to hear the horn, and the battery range did not deplete at all. At the end of the day, MG hasn't compromised on the powertrain. And that is what makes the ZS EV such a pleasurable vehicle and an overall great balance between real world usability, practicality, and definitely ease of driving as well. Look at the steering. It is easy. It's not as light as some of the Hyundai cars which have a really light steering, but it doesn't weigh up or give you feedback as such at higher speeds. We are going to see the performance in eco mode. So we are in eco and let's accelerate. You can feel the performance has dulled to an extent wherein a Tata Harrier just flies by. Any which ways, the deceleration which I was talking about in when I get into curse mode, so let's put it into curse 3. It's in curse 3. Now if I leave the throttle, the car is not going to stop. It is just not going to stop. Okay, what it will do, it will decelerate till 6 and 7 kilometers per hour. It will hover between 6 and 7 kilometers per hour, but it will just not stop. Either 6 or 7 kilometers per hour, it just keeps going there, and it will continuously keep moving. It will keep crawling, which is actually a good thing in stop-go traffic. Even with, you can regenerate a lot of energy yet not come to a standstill. And as soon as I put it into eco mode, okay, this is showing me the energy flow. As soon as I put it into eco mode, right away on the cluster I can see the range has increased. So as soon as I change this, let me change this right now, the mode to normal, and as soon as I get into normal, you see the range depletes immediately. So earlier it was showing 153 something, now it's showing 146. Now again, sport mode is immediate. I can feel there is another engine which has come into play. Okay, there's no engine on offer here, but see the range has decreased to 131 kilometers. Okay, now the interesting bit here is that the steering is not light as such. Okay, like at low speed it's light enough, but not Hyundai level light, but at higher speed it's heavy also, so it does weigh up, but it doesn't inspire confidence. There's no feel as such in the steering. It does weigh up, but without any feel whatsoever. Now what we're going to do is we are going to change the mode, and we're coming to normal mode, which is the ideal mode, in the mode which most of you will actually use when you're driving this car. Okay, now as soon as you get into the throttle, that initial surge is not there, which is there in sport mode. So yes, I can feel some of the horses have gone to sleep, but even in eco mode there is just so much eagerness, or urgency is always present. It doesn't feel like, okay, you know what, now I'm in eco mode, I have all the rights on earth not to give you performance. It doesn't happen that way, which is actually a very, very, very good thing indeed. So whenever you take a U-turn, you always should be in sport mode. So okay, sport mode, see the U-turn, little bit enthusiasm, listen to it. There, the traction control comes into picture. That's the fun of an electric car, because all the torque comes in like a wave, and it hits it so hard that there's no button to turn off traction control, because if you turn off traction control now, you will go from here to somewhere else completely. So now we're going to shift modes, and we have come into normal mode. Now let's see how the acceleration is in normal mode. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. There is no revving happening. Okay, there's no launch control, but yes, you can feel the difference between the 3 modes, because I've given you acceleration in all the 3 modes. So although this vlog was over, all of a sudden I'm thinking that why did I not drive in the other 2 modes? I thought let's drive in the other 2 modes so you get an experience of that as well. I know the light is kind of gone right now, but I hope you like this vlog, and if you did, well, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Bye bye, take care. Time to get into sport mode and get into the gas, and here we go. Beautiful acceleration at 150 kilometers per hour. It tops out. It doesn't go any further. It's like it's locked. It's like a Honda Brio or a Honda Amaze. It just won't go any further than 150 kilometers per hour. It's like there's a hard limiter there, but it's just out of juice. It doesn't have the punch. Going forward, I believe that when electric cars will go much faster, have a higher range, they'll make a lot of sense. Right now, it's more of a style statement. You're paying a premium, but you actually get the returns in terms of running costs. The running costs are absurdly low. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Bye-bye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.